Well, two Utahns now taking their case all the way to the state Supreme Court.
Their battle is to help others who want to have their gender changed on their birth certificates. Tuna's Bronagh joins us now with more.
And Bronagh, gender marker changes are completely legal here?
Absolutely, but it is a very grey area in Utah law. If you want to change your gender on your birth certificate, you can apply to a judge and they will give you a yes or a no, but there are no guidelines for judges in these cases to follow. So whether you get approved or denied is really luck of the draw.
When I was younger, I felt so little in this giant pond.
Imagine growing up in a body that never quite felt right.
My mom would dress me in pink and frills and all sorts of things that just didn't fit, and it got to me.
Sean Childers Gray.
It got to me bad.
And Angie Rice.
I was a young child who was scared and confused.
Don't have to imagine, because they've lived it.
I was born with the name Jenny. I found the LGBT community, and I came out as a lesbian. It just didn't feel right. And the identity didn't feel right, and I didn't feel right in my body.
Almost giving up on life altogether.
How old were you when you attempted suicide?
The first time?
Oh, wow. How many times were there?
There's 3 that were pretty scary.
Finally figuring out who he was meant to be.
I think I was 24 when I finally said, I'm transgender. I stopped hiding. I stopped choosing to hide.
But hiding was something Angie excelled at growing up.
I played every sport going up through high school that I could play, and I overcompensated.
You were being the best kind of boy that you could be.
Yes. Yes.
She was born in Vermont to a military family.
They gave me a birth name of Arthur Edward because they wanted me to be named after 2 kings.
As that young man, she graduated from the Air Force Academy.
And I flew rescue helicopters.
Concealing her true self.
I lived a life of not wanting to be discovered, and it was a life of torture.
And only ever telling one person about her inner turmoil.
But the person I never kept a secret from was my wife that I still love dearly. And our marriage was almost 30 years. Being able to share with one person is a lifeline.
Showing you a snippet of what they've both overcome might help you understand why they took another step into the courtroom.
At what point did you decide, I need to get my birth certificate changed? Or why was that important to you?
Actually, for me it was one trigger point. I have an amazing wife now. We talked about me adopting one of her kids.
A lawyer telling Sean one thing in particular might help.
He recommended that I do my gender marker change first.
For Angie, it was about acceptance.
You can't be someone and you can't show someone your birth certificate or driver's license and it shows someone else.
It's about having that acknowledgement from my state where I was born that, I was assigned female at birth, but I am
no longer,
and I am male.
Now the pair didn't know each other, but both ended up in front of the same 2nd District Court judge to have their genders changed on their birth certificates.
He praised my military service, he praised my family and my children, and then I could hear him switch gears to address the case.
But one by one...
And then I broke down and cried, and that's the last thing anyone wants to do in front of a judge is cry.
They were both shot down. Not because it's not legal, but because this is all very much a grey area in Utah law.
And some judges are saying yes and some are saying no, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just completely up to that judge.
That's State Senator TODD WEILER, who tells us there are currently no guidelines for judges to follow in these types of cases, and getting approved or denied can be luck of the draw depending on which county you're in and which judge you're in front of.
They allege that some counties are more lenient than other counties. Do you think there's a problem there?
That's why I think they're right.
WEILER has tried to fix the problem in the past, but his bill was a bust.
It was brought once and debated and voted down in the Senate.
Right now, while some applications are getting approved,
issuing about 60 changed gender birth certificates a year based on court orders.
We have no idea how many are being denied.
Why can't we find out how many are getting denied? Because I tried to, and
yes.
It's not going to happen.
It's not a conspiracy. It's not a cover-up. It's really just a lack of It's a lack of tracking in the court system.
Sean and Angie did eventually meet after trying separately to appeal their denials.
Same lawyer.
Yeah, same
that's
lawyer.
How we connected.
That's
okay.
how we connected.
Got it.
Deciding to fight their cases further together. And they took things all the way to the Utah Supreme Court back in 2017. And you might think they'd have some answers by now.
They typically decide a case within 5 months of argument.
Instead, no decisions.
Do you feel like your life is in limbo?
Oh, it completely is.
No changes.
And you're mentally exhausted because you're still in the same boat.
But absolutely no giving up on themselves
And we're 10 feet tall standing together.
or on those coming behind them.
Are you prepared to go to the next level?
If that's what it takes. Because this case isn't just mine and Angie's anymore.
No, I won't be happy until we help others get through this and not have to lose their hope or have their dignity taken away.
Now again, this appeal was filed more than 2 years ago, but Sean and Angie have had no answers, and there's no timeline on when they might get a decision. Live in Salt Lake for the very last time, Bronagh Tumulty, 2 News.
We'll miss you, Bronagh. And you ended with a really thought-provoking story.
Thank you.